Uncovered, teenage Karoline Leavitt gushed over Trump in 2016. Here it is.
We're going to start with Karoline Leavitt, 18-year-old college freshman up the road at St. Anselm. She's got a 10 o'clock Spanish class, so we're going to let her go first.
Absolutely.
Mr. Trump, as everyone knows, and as I personally appreciate, you're very honest and outspoken about a lot of different things. As my father would say, you call a spade a spade. However, many people criticize you for this, saying that you're merciless, ruthless, cold-hearted. What would you like to say to people who think you're too harsh to be the next president of the United States?
It's such a great question. And I had a woman the other day say, Mr. Trump, I love you, I'm voting for you, but are you a nice enough person to be president? I said, you know what? I really am a nice person. I give tremendous amounts of money away. I love to help people. I love people. And you see from upstairs how many people showed up to see me. It's not going to be, though, this time about niceness. It's going to be about competence.
Yeah, that was a lot, too. I would have preferred him to be mean and highly competent. All right, put it at full mass. According to Atlanta Black Star, President Donald Trump's press secretary, Ms. Leavitt, the youngest press secretary in U.S. history, at the age of 27, has been a MAGA groupie of Trump's since 18. Now we see qualification. This is a Trump qualification, okay? The online website, The List, recently unearthed the archived video of Ms. Leavitt at a, quote, Pancakes and Politics town hall. This was back in 2016. But she was an 18-year-old freshman at St. Anselm College in Manchester, this is New Hampshire. Before she even got her question out at the event, she heaped a bunch of praise on the then candidate. While attending college, Leavitt penned a piece for the college crier praising Trump while dissing left-leaning media outlets, according to The List. Quote, say what you want about Donald Trump. He is certainly not perfect, but he is without question running against not only a crooked candidate, but the crooked and biased media as well. Leavitt wrote, or, Trump told her to write that because it sounds like the same thing Trump says all the time. Now, referring to the Democratic presidential candidate, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. So this was the narrative, all right? So she's already echoing the same sentiment. Quote, the liberal media is unjust, unfair, and sometimes just plain old false, end quote. Okay. So Leavitt ran for office at 23 in New Hampshire's first congressional district just a few years after graduating as one of the first Gen Z congressional candidates. She lost that election amid a very crowded field of more veteran politicians. She was actually an old hand at the White House before she even embarked on the congressional campaign. She earned an internship in the Eisenhower Executive Office building, mailroom during Trump's first term, into a stint as assistant press secretary. In that role, according to Politico, she fought, quote, against the biased mainstream media. In 2020, after Trump lost re-election, she worked as a communications director for a New York rep. Now she's pulling all that experience into waking up every day and figuring out how she can spin the newest lie. While speaking to Fox News in the aftermath of Trump's strike on Iran's nuclear facilities, Leavitt said, quote, nobody knows what it means to accomplish peace through strength better than President Trump. He is the one who came up with that motto and that foreign policy doctrine via blue sky. This is false. The term peace through strength dates back to the Roman Empire. Ironically, in the article that was written in 2016, she wrote, quote, it becomes a bigger problem still when news channels begin to report inaccurate stories in order to preserve their own views and stands and process of doing so effectively obscure the truth. Ma'am, you have the job because he can control you. I actually feel bad for you because I think you authentically looked up to him and believed he was something that you know for surely he's not. You know he's not anymore. But what can you do? MAGA, support groups, advocacy. You got caught up in this whirlwind at 18. You're 27. You actually, and I believe you will, I believe you will end up doing the right thing. You actually have more life in front of you than behind you. You can still turn this thing around. I believe you were duped at a very young age. I think you were manipulated then and you're being manipulated now to the highest factor. Why would he do this? Why would he put you in such a position? And yet Leavitt got caught doing just that March 2025 when she criticized U.S. District Judge James Bossberg for intervening in Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act, accusing him of sympathizing with the Democrats' cause. So she incorrectly claimed that the judge was first appointed by the Obama administration. This fit nicely with her narrative, but NBC reporter quickly pointed out that the judge was actually appointed by George W. Bush, and she was then flustered. How does a press secretary make that kind of mistake? In an era where you have a staff, a team, a chief of staff, an assistant chief of staff, you literally are the communications director. You have access to Google too. How do you make these mistakes? You only make these mistakes at that level if you're not the one writing the press releases, the speeches that you give, or the posts that you make. All right, Elliot, thoughts here.
Honestly, I had a hard time recognizing Karoline Leavitt at first without the gold cross around her neck. But then once she started talking, like, oh, okay, that's who she is. And I think I am starting to realize that it's not, I thought it was a cross for Christianity. I think it's just a lowercase t, because this isn't the behavior of a press secretary. This is the behavior of a fan. And I think there's a real sycophantic thing going on with Karoline Leavitt. She knows the drill. She knows what her assignment is. It's like Trump all the way at the top, and then everything else succumbs to that. And I also noticed that when she talked to him back when she was in college, she said, as my dad would say, he calls a spade a spade. Does she think her dad came up with the phrase calling a spade? Because that might explain some of these problems. But I don't know that I'm as optimistic as you are, Dr. Richey, about her kind of coming out of this, but I certainly hope that it happens. I just think that, when you see folks like this, they're in so deep and so much of their identity is tied to it that I worry that maybe she'll be entrenched in it forever. But who knows? Maybe not.
Yeah, the only reason why I provide a caveat for her is because the youth are impressionable, but can also be unpredictable when they stand up for themselves.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Folks that are already in it, they 50, 60, hell, they sold their soul a long